Hey there. Hi, I'm Jenn Rice, and I wanted to come in and talk. You saw by the title about resilience. And I was actually reading in this, it's actually a pretty thick book on gut health. So basically, just the whole GI health. And I came across this chapter that started talking about resilience. And I thought, wow, this is strange to have this in the middle of this sort of almost a very medical book, but it was really interesting, so I wanted to share it here. And basically, it's why is resilience important when it comes to healthy aging? And I never really thought of resilience as being something that necessarily corresponded specifically to health, but once I sort of read into it more, I thought these points would be helpful to share out there, and maybe you might feel like I did, which I didn't really understand the correlation between. I mean, I'd heard about resiliency, which actually, what does it mean to even be resilient? Well, we know that resiliency is the ability to rebound from illness or a challenge or a life event without developing a chronic stress response. So, I always thought about resiliency in the aspect of like maybe in a business or maybe just life in general, but not really interconnected to health specifically. Hey Sue, thanks for jumping on. Great to see you. So I'm talking about resiliency, and I know we talk about this a bit in business, but when it comes to our health, this can be really key. And so it's actually one of the most vital elements that there is for us to have healthy aging, because they say about, so in the book they cited about 90% of all of us will go through some kind of tragic event in our lives, something that will induce a stress response, which I thought it would be like, 100%, but 90%, okay. And basically you bounce back better if you are more resilient. And so you won't become as much physically or emotionally compromised by this stress that's going on. So then that gets me to thinking, well, okay, so how do you build resiliency? Is this something you can actually work on? Is it like a muscle that we can build up if we want to? And actually we can. And there's actually 5 things we can do to really help with our own resiliency. And this hits close to home for me because last year when I went through some health issues, that was probably a sequelae of a lot of things that had built up around me that had like a chronic stress response, if you will. So, when you build your resiliency factor, I like to call it, that can keep you from being almost compromised easier than you would normally be from like stress or physical stress or mental stress. So, okay, let's go with the 5 things. I see you guys jumping on. Thanks for being here. I'm talking today. I was actually reading in a gut health book that was very medical based, but there was this whole chapter on resiliency, and I thought, well, this is really cool because normally you don't really see that in a lot of maybe medical literature, but it really honed in on how the more resilient you are, the less likely you are to develop like these chronic stress responses that oftentimes will set off a cascade effect for some of us in our health, which can be an autoimmune condition, obviously cancer would fall in there, and all these other health issues that go on. So, okay, the first thing that we can do to help with our resiliency is to have a strong community of people around us and social support. So I find it completely fitting to be on here on a Facebook Live talking to, my community, my network, definitely social support, as long as it's the right kind, positive, uplifting to you, that can really increase your resiliency factor. Hey, Bob, thanks for jumping on here. Yeah, so, social support is a big thing for all of us to lean into. And I know they always say like you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with most often. So be sure that those 5 people that you talk to on a regular basis, or maybe for you it's 3 or 10 or whatever. But the point is that should be what's feeding you. It's really helping you. Number 2 is to keep perspective and to maintain a positive attitude. So I'd like to say I got number 2 down pretty well. When I go through the rest of the numbers, there's 5 total. Number 2, I feel like I'm pretty good at keeping the positive attitude up, but keeping perspective is sometimes difficult because we often will do a lot of comparison and maybe not really keep our perspective in the right place, and that can, actually lower our resiliency factor, not increase it. So number 3 is to take care of yourself and maintain a positive self-image. And when you can read this a couple different ways. When I first read it, I kind of thought maintain a positive self-image. They mean like how you look, how you are. I think it means like how you view yourself internally. So like your confidence, like trusting yourself. And people are just shown to be more resilient when they take better care of themselves, and then they maintain like a good image of themselves, like they're talking positively to themselves, right? Number 4, I've been working on this for I guess several years. Confronting your fears. Confronting your fears will actually allow you to be more resilient. And I used to run away a lot from stuff that scared me and quit things that that maybe just didn't come super easy. And I think it was back when I became a paramedic years ago. It was like the first thing I ever finished all the way. I mean, of course, high school, whatever, but it was something I completed 100%. And that was like confronting a fear of like, success, right? Or fear of failure, all of it, all in once. So the more you confront your fears, the more resilient you can be. Hey there, Michelle. Love that you're here because resiliency, big deal, right? We were talking about this a little bit today. Okay, and number 5 is accept what you cannot change. I said I had number 2 nailed down because I felt like could be pretty positive. Number 5 is hard for me because when I feel like I want to fix a lot of things often, and I have to kind of pull back and accept that there are a lot of things I can't change. I can control what I do, how I am, what I eat, what I drink. There are things I can't control, but there are still things, many, many things that I can't change at all. I don't have control over, and it almost creates useless stress, right? It's like empty worry and stress. So I just thought it was such a great surprise to be in this like heavy book on gut health and to see this amazing chapter on resilience and how it is so vital to us, really being healthy, to aging well. And so if you guys found value in my message today, I would love for you to share it with someone. Certainly drop me any comments if you yourself have struggled with any of the 5 here. I think, though, you being on here, you're already doing number 1, which is the strong community social support, tuning into people that and being around people that you want to be around. So I hope you guys have a great, great day. And if you like this content, I have a business page, Jenn Rice International. You can go over there, and you guys take care.